Hello, 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 and welcome back to the AI Cafe conversation. This is Sahar, your AI whisperer. All right, this is a Forbes article like Friday episode. This is the extra flavor for coffee that we have, which means it's shorter than the one we do on Wednesday. It's tactical and it's designed for one specific audience, board members and executive who present to them. Because I want to talk about the question that should be on every board agenda but is not. Not what we always ask, what's our AI strategy, and not what's our quarterly revenue, but this. Where does our 2030 leadership team come from? And if that question makes you uncomfortable, good, because it should. Here is what's happening right now in boardrooms and between board members across the country. CFOs are presenting AI cost savings. We eliminated 15 entry-level positions. AI handles that work now. $2 million in annual savings. And boards are applauding. Great ROI, strong cost discipline. But no one is asking the follow-up question. Who becomes our VP of strategy in 2028 if we have no junior strategist in 2025? Today, I'm giving you 3 questions every board needs to ask about AI workforce strategy. Not next quarter, this quarter. Let's go. Question number 1, or the first question your board needs to ask: where is our pipeline? How many entry-level roles did we have in 2020 and how many do we have now? And of our current VPs, what percentage came through those entry-level roles? Now, I can already hear some executives saying, that's an HR question. No, that's not. They would say it's not a board question. Wrong. This is a governance question. This is a succession planning question. This is strategic risk management. Let me explain why. Most high-performing VPs and C-suites leaders didn't start in senior roles. They started at the bottom. They were the junior analysts, the entry-level associates, the people doing the boring, repetitive work that taught them how the organization actually functions. And over 5-7 years, they developed expertise. They understood the business model. They knew the culture. They built relationships across departments, and eventually they became promotable. That was the traditional pipeline: entry level to analyst, to senior analyst, to manager, to director, to VP. And I know we discussed a little bit of that in the last episode. I'm just trying to present it again in a way that is valid on how to present it to boards. And from a P&L perspective, it looks great. Immediate cost savings, improved efficiency, same output with fewer people. But the board is not seeing the 5-year consequence. If you eliminate entry-level roles in 2025, you have no senior analyst for 2027, no managers for 2029, no directors for 2032, no VPs for 2035. The pipeline doesn't just slow down, it stops. Now here is where boards push back. They say, we will hire experienced talent. We will recruit VPs from competitors. And sure, you can do that. But let me walk you through what that actually costs. External VP hire, 18 to 24 months to reach full productivity. They don't know your systems. They don't understand your culture. They have to build relationships from scratch. Internal promotion, 3 to 6 months to full productivity. They already know the business. They have existing relationships. They understand how decisions get made. So from a pure efficiency standpoint, internal promotions are faster, cheaper, and less risky. But here is the bigger problem with the hire externally strategy. What if every company is making the same calculation? What if everyone is eliminating entry-level roles and trying to poach experienced talent from competitors? We just saw that recently when Meta started hiring high-level executive AI from other company, and they poached them, and they were paying them like the football teams are paying their football players, like incentives and $5 to $12 million a year. This is the result of that. This is where you want to be. Eventually, you run out of experienced talent to poach because no one is training the next generation. It's a tragedy of the commons for talent development. Every individual company makes a rational decision. We will hire experienced people and let competitors train them. But collectively, that destroys the entire talent pipeline ecosystem. And boards need to understand, you're not competing for talent just with your direct competitors anymore. You are competing with every company that eliminated entry-level roles and is now desperately hiring experienced people. The second question your board needs to ask, what's the real cost of an empty leadership pipeline? And how does that compare to the cost savings from AI automation? Because here is what most CFO presentations miss. They show the immediate savings, $2 million annually by eliminating 15 entry-level positions. But they don't show the 2030 cost when you have no internal succession candidates. So let me give you the real calculations. Cost of empty pipeline in 2030. 1. External executive search fees, 30 to 35% of first year salary. 2. Average VP salary, $250,000 to $400,000 a year. 3. Search fees, $75,000 to $140,000 per hire. If you need to hire 5 VPs externally, it will cost you between $375,000 to $700,000 in search fees alone. Then add 1. Productivity loss during 18-month ramp-up period. 2. Cultural friction from external hires who don't understand the organization. 3. Retention risk when internal candidates see outsiders promoted above them. 4. Strategic misalignment while new leaders get up to speed. A conservative estimate, $2 to $3 million per external VP hire when you factor in all costs. Now compare that to the cost developing internal talent. Entry-level salary, $60,000. 7 years of development, $420,000 in salary cost. Training and mentorship, $50,000. Total investment, $470,000 to develop a VP over 7 years. So by eliminating entry-level roles, you save $2 million today. You are creating $10 to $15 million in cost 5 years from now. When you need to externally hire the VPs, you could have developed internally. That's a no-brainer, right? That's not ROI. That's deferred expenses with compound interest. And boards need to see this calculation because right now they're only seeing half of the equation. It's your job to give them a full picture. Question number 3 that your board needs to ask. What's our development strategy? If AI eliminates tactical work that used to teach strategic thinking, how do we develop strategic thinkers? This is the neuroscience question, and it's the one most boards don't understand yet. Here is how expertise develops. You do repetitive work, you make mistakes, you get feedback, you iterate. Over hundreds of cycles, your brain builds pattern recognition. That's how junior analysts become strategic thinkers. They build 500 financial models. They analyze 200 market reports. They draft 100 strategy documents. And somewhere around repetition 300, they start to develop intuition. They can look at data, set, and immediately see what's wrong. They can read a strategy proposal and know it won't work. That's not something you teach in a workshop. That's neural pattern recognition built through repetition. But if AI does all the repetitive work, the financial modeling, the market analysis, the first drafts, where do people build that pattern recognition? You can't skip straight to strategic thinking. The brain doesn't work that way. So the board level question is, What's our strategy for developing expertise when AI handles the tasks that used to build expertise? And there are good answers to this question. You can create AI augmented entry-level roles where people learn to oversee AI, evaluate outputs, and refine analysis. You can build rotation programs where junior people spend time across departments learning the business, even if they're not doing hands-on tasks. But you have to be intentional about it. You can just eliminate roles and hope expertise magically develops. And this is where board governance matters, because this isn't something that will fix itself. This requires strategic investment, budget allocation, and executive ownership. If the board doesn't make talent development a strategic priority, it won't happen. And 5 years from now, you will have a succession crisis. So here is what I want every board to do in their next meeting, if I may. And this is a little what I call the board level framework. Add this to the agenda. AI workforce strategy and succession planning, not as an HR update, as a strategic risk discussion. And go through these 3 questions. How many entry-level roles did we have in 2020 versus now? Of our count VPs, what percentage came up through entry-level roles? 2, what's the total cost of an empty pipeline in 2030 versus the savings from an AI automation today? 3, if AI eliminates tactical work that teaches strategic thinking, what's our development strategy? And here is the critical part. Don't just ask the questions, assign ownership. Someone at the C-suite level needs to own talent pipeline strategy, not HR. HR executes. But a C-suite executive, like a CEO, CFO, or a CEO, needs to own the strategic vision. And that person needs to report to the board quarterly on pipeline health. How many people in development? What percentage are on track for promotion? What are the gaps and where are they? Treat talent pipeline the way you treat financial forecasting, with rigor, with metrics, with executive accountability. Because here is the reality. The companies that figure out how to develop leaders in an AI augmented world will dominate the next decade. The companies that just chase short-term cost savings will find themselves in a bidding war for the new experienced executives left in the market. And by then, it will be too late to fix it. All right, quick recap for your next board meeting. 3 questions every board needs to ask. 1, where is our pipeline? 2, what's the real cost? 3, what's our development strategy? These are not HR questions. They are governance questions. These are succession planning questions. These are strategic risk questions. And if your board isn't asking them, you're already behind. Next Wednesday, we're going deeper on this topic. The AI conversation no CEO wants to have. How to tell your team their jobs are changing. Because once your board understands the succession risk, someone has to actually have the conversation with the organization. And that's where most leaders freeze. I'm going to give you the framework for how to do it with transparency and courage instead of denial and silence. Until then, send this episode to your board chair, or better yet, play it in your next board meeting. This is the 15-minute conversation that could save you $15 million in 2023. Talk soon. This is Sahar. This is your AI Whisperer. Show me some love. Save it, share it, subscribe to it. If you have any questions, you can email me at sahar@saharconsulting.com. Reach me on LinkedIn, Sahar Andradi, or on Instagram, Sahar the Reinvent Coach. Hope to hear from you. Peace out.
1